So, I did a short on this talking about this video that I was going to do this. And yeah, I'm going to do a more in-depth version. You probably already know what the 10, if you saw that short, then you know what my 10 favorite movies of all time are. So these are just my personal favorites. And I'm going to go more in depth as to why I love these movies throughout this list. But there are 9 movies I absolutely love. And the thing is, like, that list can always change. But there is one movie, which I'm going to save for last. Again, if you saw this short, then you already know. That I'm going to talk about. That is my favorite movie of all time, and it will never change. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs is probably not only one of my favorite movies, it's my favorite Tarantino movie of all time. It is quite literally my favorite Tarantino movie, point blank, like full stop. I will say that if I was to do like a favorite other Tarantino movies, of course, Pulp Fiction, Django Unchained, which I don't have, sadly. I would love to own Django Unchained. I would say for others I really like, of course, Kill Bill. Although it is funny, like I do like Kill Bill Volume 1 more than 2. But yeah. This is my all-time favorite movie. I think the first time I ever watched this movie, the first time I ever watched, sorry, I had like my brain just shut off. The first time I ever watched this movie, I think I was in like a hotel with my family, and the hotel was big enough that my brother and I had our own room, and we just sat down and watched Reservoir Dogs for the first time. I mean, it was the edited version, but I was like, man, this is awesome. I love just the dialogue. I think the intro where they're all in the diner is arguably one of the best scenes in cinema history. This movie made me appreciate acting, which is a weird thing to say. It made me appreciate like storytelling, and yeah, I could go on and on about this movie. I really could. Anyway, so next up on the list is Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, another great classic, and arguably my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie. This is another movie where it made me, like Reservoir Dogs, it made me appreciate cinema. It made me appreciate the art of filmmaking as a whole. I also think this is the best trailer of all time. Like, if you've never seen the trailer for Psycho, I highly recommend you go see this. You go watch the trailer on YouTube, and it's 3 minutes long, and it's so unsuspecting, but it tells you nothing and everything at the same time. Getting back to this, though, this movie, for lack of a better word, fucks. Like, it straight up fucks. This movie broke a lot of barriers. I talked about this before when I was talking about the four most important movies in horror cinema, is that this movie broke a lot of barriers that allowed a lot of other filmmakers to move forward in the next century. This movie basically could be seen, had the first time we had a couple in bed, a toilet flushing. Yeah, that was censored too. There was also the whole thing of violence and also seeing a woman in her underwear. These were all really big things to really think about that. Like, you can watch Friday the 13th and it's like people say, oh, it's so tame. When in reality, it's more along the lines of, it is more along the lines that this film broke all those barriers from beforehand. So yeah. Psycho is another film that made me go, it's not just a great horror film, but it's also a great piece of cinema, from camera angles to storytelling to everything. Now we come to The Godfather. The Godfather, it's one of the greatest movies ever. Some would argue is the greatest movie ever. But I love this movie for a different reason. I actually have a love for this movie for a vastly different reason. The reason being is that this film is intrinsically tied with my family because we are so fucking Italian. We kind of imprint ourselves into this. And I do use the term, oh, Paulie, you go see him no more, in my lexicon. I just replaced it with something else. Like, I remember one year we were basically getting rid of a Christmas tree, but we were doing it in a way because we were living in a complex, and they said don't throw away the Christmas tree in the public dumpster. But we didn't know where else to put it, so my dad and I literally wrapped up this Christmas tree in garbage and bungee wire and threw it in the garbage can like we were throwing away a body. And as I finished, I got in the car and said, "Oh, Christmas tree? Ain't gonna see him no more." Yeah. It's also funny to note that my family has this is one of the three movies that are the pillar of our family. It's Godfather, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, and Tombstone. Those three movies, for some reason, are the three tent poles of our family, which probably says a lot, now that I think about it. Anyway, but The Godfather is another film that is absolute perfection, even though I saw this way too young in my life, because goddamn. But no, this movie's just perfection. Now, for a movie you would not, like I've talked about, like the past three movies, Psycho, Reservoir Dogs, and Godfather are like masterclass in cinema. Like, they're all great in storytelling, from Coppola to Tarantino to Hitchcock. Great pieces of storytelling. Now we're going to go into something that has a different totally meaning. The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. Yeah, no lie, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad is, without a doubt, probably the movie that got me into my imagination going as a kid. I distinctly remember seeing this movie on some late-night channel. I think it was TNT Monster Fest, maybe. I'm not sure. But I was with my great-grandparents, and I just remember the stop-motion monsters, especially the Cyclops and Dragon fight at the end. Like, seeing that as a young age really sparked my imagination to be like a writer or, wanting to do stuff creatively. Yeah. So Ray Harryhausen is a genius and an excellent filmmaker, a special effects creator. So this movie is just brilliant. Like, it is a perfect adventure film. And also, the theme is just amazing. Like, if you have not heard the intro theme to The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, I highly recommend you do. It is a work of art. It is a genuine work of art that just gets you pumped. So yeah, I know it's kind of off the beaten path, but this is one of my favorite movies of all time. Next up, Evil Dead 2. This is one of the greatest movies of all time. I will hear no other arguments. Evil Dead 2 is like the perfect horror movie, horror comedy movie. It has scares, it has, great cinematography, it has great laughs, it's so quotable, it's gory, it's just perfection. Evil Dead 2, as I did a video not too long ago talking about my 10 favorite horror franchises, and in that, I talked about how the big thing with me was that the Evil Dead franchise is without a doubt my favorite horror franchise, without question. So when I talk about it, usually this is at the top of the list. Not to say, and there are no bad Evil Dead movies. I don't care what anyone says. There are no bad Evil Dead movies, and this is by far the best. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. That's been happening a lot. Goddamn ADHD. Anyway, next on the list is Jaws. Jaws by Steven Spielberg. It's another perfect movie. This movie is astonishing. Stephen King did Duel, which I have not seen, but my friend Chris is sending me the movie to see Duel, Spielberg's first movie. But this is the movie that put one of the greatest filmmakers on the map and basically helped Universal Studios launch into an even bigger name. This movie is just synonymous with the zeitgeist. This is the greatest shark movie of all time. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. And when you hear all the shark is not working, I repeat, the shark is not working, and all the other hell that everyone else went through. Yeah, I could go on and on about Jaws, but I recently, and I did a video about this about about a week or so ago, talking about how I I saw the movie for a 50th anniversary theater, a theater for a 50th anniversary showing, and it was a 4K re-release showing some scenes that weren't seen in the theater, and having that experience, seeing a movie I have seen multiple times, again in a new light, is perfection. Like, I didn't think, I always respected that, and even like the theater was packed too. So Jaws it's just awesome. It is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm sure it'll come up for a lot of people as well. Speaking of Spielberg movies, Jurassic Park. Yeah, to the shock of no one, the dinosaur guy really likes dinosaurs, and he likes Jurassic Park because he likes dinosaurs because of Jurassic Park. I know the sequels can be really up and down, however you feel, but like this movie, say what you want. Say what you want about the franchise. Like the sequels suck, or the franchise needs to die. It's not going anywhere. This film, regardless, no matter what anyone says, this film will always be talked about as the best. Like, this is one of not just the best of the franchise. It is one of the best movies ever. Like, yeah, blending special practical and CGI effects. This movie did everything right. And it's a movie that, like, no matter what you think of the franchise, everyone will go, that first movie, though. So, yeah, this also, again, is the reason why I like dinosaurs. Like, a lot. Like, a lot. I saw this movie, when I was a kid, and I didn't get scared. I know a lot of people say, oh, when I saw it as a kid, it scared me. I was like, dinosaur go chomp. Anyway. So this next film is going to represent what I really like, because I don't have the cut, because, Criterion is really fucking expensive. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, Godzilla, or Gojira. Yeah, shocking. You think I wasn't going to put a Godzilla film on here? Come on, man. You know me by now. So yeah, I am referring to Gojira, even though the copy I have is Godzilla King of the Monsters, part of the, what was this called? The SVM collection? Yeah, I still have this. I got it as a Christmas present one year. But yeah, I want to get the Criterion cut of Gojira. I would love nothing more than to own the Criterion cut of Gojira, but it's expensive. Yeah. But this film, I still think King of the Monsters is still a pretty solid film, but Gojira is just the perfect kaiju film, and one of Toho's greatest achievements ever. It is a movie that tells us, it's not just a giant monster movie. Let's talk about that right now. It is not just a giant monster movie. It is a monster movie that has talking about the post-war, a nation that was destroyed, a nation that didn't know what to do with its life. It was basically a film about a country healing after nearly 10 years after one of the greatest, most devastating, not greatest, but most devastating moments in their history ever happened. So yeah, Gojira, represented by Godzilla King of the Monsters. Next up, The Invisible Man. A lot of Universal Picture movies, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I love the Universal monster movies, but if I was to pick one, it would be The Invisible Man. You have no problem in saying that James Whale's finest work is The Bride of Frankenstein, and I would agree with you. But personally, I think his greatest work is this film, The Invisible Man. I genuinely believe The Invisible Man is his best work. It is a marvel of 1933, and they were doing effects that would have blown your... If you were, I know today you could easily do that with your phone, but, you have to put your mindset of, a person in 1933 and seeing, a guy half invisible, and the work that went into it. Claude Rains is fantastic. There's also... There's also just great humor and great cinematography. I think it's one of the most technically advanced, if not the most technically advanced, of the Universal monster films. So yeah. And finally, we come to my favorite film of all time. This will never change. At some point or another, maybe my 10 favorite film, the other 9 may change. That's a given. But this final film I'm going to talk about will never change. And that is Seven Samurai. Seven Samurai, and yes, my girlfriend did actually get this for me as a birthday present for the Criterion Cut, because she knew I always wanted this movie. Seven Samurai is... Akira Kurosawa is a masterclass of directing. Kurosawa himself inspired Glenn Ford. He inspired Alfred Hitchcock. He inspired Tarantino. Without Kurosawa, there wouldn't be any of those. We wouldn't have those kind of films. He has basically created some of the greatest films of all time. Yojimbo, Rashomon, Ran, Throne of Blood. This dude knew how to make a movie. And yes, most of them were samurai movies, so I don't want to hear it in the comments he only made samurai movies. Shut the fuck up. Okay? They were good samurai movies. But this is the masterclass of them all. Without this film, we wouldn't have Magnificent Seven, just saying. But this movie is a 3-hour epic talking about, it basically demystifies the samurai. It demystifies the story of the samurai. It tells a gritty and realistic story, but there's hope, there's joy, there's laughter, but there's also hardship and pain. And there is no other better movie that I could think of. Yes, it's 3.5 hours long. So what? It's a masterpiece. Seven Samurai is just an absolute masterpiece, my favorite movie of all time. So there you go, guys. That is basically my 10 favorite films of all time. But I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say. What are your 10 favorite movies ever? What are the 10... If you were trapped on an island, what are the 10 movies... what if you were trapped on some wayward island and you could only bring with you 10 movies to watch? These would be my 10, without a doubt. So yeah. Let's hear your 10 favorite movies of all time. Just comment below. Let me know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.